Well, good morning, everyone. Thomas Montgomery here. It is a beautiful Wednesday morning, August 7th, 2024. We get together most weekday mornings to talk topics regarding business funding. Why would we talk about business funding on such a repetitive, organized basis? It's because there are a lot of people that want and or need money to start or grow a business. And that's really the top question. I know some of you are entrepreneurs and some of you are affiliates. For those of you who are our affiliates, this is a great lead-in question. Just ask someone, do you know anyone looking for funding to start or grow a business? And then to continue to explain to them, our 501c3 nonprofit received a grant to assist entrepreneurs in increasing their financial literacy and increasing their access to capital. So that in a nutshell is the opening statement that you could use, and essentially a one sentence, a long one, albeit, describing what we do. There is nearly an unlimited number of entrepreneurs that want and need funding. However, there's not a single bank or lender or underwriter that cares how bad someone wants or needs money. No one cares but that entrepreneur. I guess you and I care, but none of the lenders care. It's all about, does the borrower or prospective borrower meet the underwriting criteria for the given type of loan or extension of credit. And so we just simply call that their fundability. So one of the first things that you and I have to be crystal clear on is that there's lots of different sources of capital. Some you have to pay back, some you don't. Some have a short repayment term, some have a long repayment term. Some look at personal credit, some don't look at personal credit. So there's just almost an infinite number of different types of loan programs and lenders in the marketplace. What we're really good at doing, and we actually do it for free, and I'll describe that, is we administer the 4-week business funding program. And if you go to 4weekfunding.com, you'll see the same page here. And so what we do is what is urgently needed, but often overlooked. We create fundable businesses. So we do that through a structured 4-week process. But I'll tell you, for those of you who are affiliates or prospective affiliates, most people don't care about this. They see it as a distraction. They're like, Dalton, man, I don't give a shit about these 4 weeks. I just need funding. Or they'll say, Varney, man, that sounds great, but just get me funding. So the toughest thing that you and I do is to build the financial literacy in the small business marketplace so they get it. And what I mean by get it is, do they realize that you can't just want or need money? You must be fundable. And there's certain basic elements that most lenders look for. But what I said before is true. Different lenders have different loan programs, and different loan programs have different underwriting. For instance, we just formed a new relationship with a lender yesterday. And I'm not exaggerating at all. So they will issue a MasterCard, maximum of $20,000, with no minimum credit score for approval. That's a factual statement. So there's different types of lenders that have different types of underwriting. And in general, what applies almost universally is the 3 C's. And we've talked about that before, not today. Credit, we're talking about business credit. Credit, collateral, and capacity. Capacity means cash flow. So what we do is we help participants build all 3 of the C's through this 4-week curriculum, which I'll describe in just a moment. And that puts them in the best position for the most affordable types of capital. And the capital could be either debt-based, where they borrow it and they promise to pay it back, or we can even do equity-based capital raising, where it's money that they don't have to pay back. So there's 3 C's: credit, meaning business credit, collateral, and capacity. Do all lenders require all 3 C's? No. Is it safe to say that all lenders require at least one of the three C's? I believe so. It'd be hard to find an exception. But what we're going to do through a 4-week structured curriculum is help the participants have all three C's. So let's take a moment and look at what we do, because it's incredibly important. But if you are one of our affiliates, you're going to have to, in my opinion, make it important to the prospect. Because again, the prospects don't care about any of this. They just want the end result. They want the funding. Now, we realize that that's human nature. So even on the website on 4weekfunding.com, even though we describe, here's what we do each week, which I'll describe to you in a moment, and then we can go to funding. If they want to skip everything else and just go to funding right now, today, great. We'll just go to funding. They can go to 4weekfunding.com, come down to the bottom, click this button, an application will pop up. The top half of the information is business information, which you'll see in just a second. The bottom half is business owner information, which you'll see in just a second. And they can fill out an app right now. If they don't have any of the business information, it's optional. All the business owner information is required. So we can skip right to funding. But what that overlooks is the business fundable? Are they going to get approved for what they want at the best rates? So that's why we go through this process, because a lot of businesses and business owners, all they want is number 8. But if we don't do the prior steps, often number 8 is going to be a denial or a very small amount. So let's talk about what we do to help clients become fundable. And the grant covers 100% of the cost of this. The grant, so the program's $5,000. The grant covers $5,000 to go through this. Now, does it mean it's free to the client? Nope, not free to the client. If they want us to help them, which is optional to go to funding, then we have a performance fee. And the performance fee is important because we have affiliates, and the performance fee is how we pay the affiliates. Also, what's important to know, of the $5,000 that this program cost, I told you the grant covers it all. That's a true factual statement, but you need to know how the grant covers it. The grant covers 80% of it up front, and then the other 20% as a refundable deposit. But let's go ahead and talk about what's included and why, because this was meant to be an effective, fast, and transparent approach. So it is not going to deter or waste time or energy away from what is needed to get the client fundable. And I always welcome a debate, a friendly debate. If someone says, no, this isn't what it takes to be fundable, then I would challenge that person or those people to offer objective reasons why not. Because, my background, I worked for Deloitte and Touche at a graduate school. So we did massive capital raises. One of my first clients was the state of Florida, not a business in the state of Florida, but the state of Florida. I went on to work at the SBA, and then I was later a college professor. So I stand by what we provide is what's needed to have a fundable business. And I doubt that you'll have anyone that is business literate that would challenge it. So let's go through what we do. The first thing that we're going to do with the client is help them create a business plan. Now, if they already have a business plan, fine, we can review it. If it's not broke, we don't need to fix it, but we need to look at it. Business plans kind of get a bad rap because the typical entrepreneur, they're just passionate about what they do, and anything that distracts them from that is frustrating. So, I don't want to write a business plan. But some elements of the business plan are unforgiving. You have to have. And one specific element, which is highlighted here in the description, is called the use of funds, because it's inaccurate to think that we can go apply for business funding and not communicate to the lender how much money we want and what we're going to use it for. That's what the use of funds does. It's illogical to think otherwise. So many times people think about everything through the consumer mindset. Well, I can go get a personal loan. I don't have to tell them shit. I don't have to tell them what I want the money for. That's right. It's a personal loan. Businesses have much greater borrowing capacity, but it works differently. So we are going to need a business plan, but we provide that. How much? For free. And you'll see down here, free. We're not selling them a business plan. We use the same software that we used as SBA advisors. It's top notch. So we're going to help create a business plan and then also seed capital. What does seed capital mean? Well, that means initial upfront funding, what we used to call first tranche. It's what they qualify for in the beginning. Now, if you're not listening closely, you might say, well, this sounds great. I'll enroll, and in week one, I'll just get funded and I can say, hell with the rest of these steps. Well, if you think that way, you're missing the point. Seed capital is based on what the client qualifies for up front. They're going to qualify for a lot more after we've gone through and built a fundable business. So this is off their baseline credibility, right? Because we're going to have to, when we look at this app, as it slowly reloads, we can either work with clients' existing businesses or start a new one. We'll talk more about that in just a second on week 2. But if you have a client that fills this out or can't fill this out because they don't have a business yet or they don't have a fundable business, then what's left on the application? The business owner. But by the time we get done with the 4-week process, we're going to be able to fill this in so the business is fundable. So are there any questions on week 1? Some people may get a lot for seed capital, some may get a little. We had a client yesterday receive 64 different offers for cash funding, which is great. But it'll be based upon the participants' baseline credibility, because we've not built a fundable business yet. Just because we're working on a business plan doesn't all of a sudden make them eligible for business funding. So this is going to be based on how they come to us. And it's not really the measure of success of the program. We have over 40 different lenders that, without any hard inquiries, compete for the participant's business, makes them offers, and then the clients can accept the offers they want, decline those that they don't. So then we get to week 2. If the business does not have a credible address, we provide it. How much does that cost? It is free. And then if they don't have an entity, then we file that with the Secretary of State. How much does it cost the participant? It is free. Now, again, if they already have a business plan, we said, and it's good, we'll use it. If they already have a good address, we'll use it. If they already have an entity that is fundable, we'll use it. But if not, this process, when we applied for the grant, it was built off the premise that we could take someone who has nothing and build a fundable business in 28 days. So if they do have something, that's fine. It doesn't conflict. It's just we would not do certain steps if they didn't need it. Any questions on weeks 1 and 2? All right, then we get to week 3. We're going to do the collateral transfer. So some of these elements that we do makes us I believe, completely unique in the marketplace. There are indirect competitors. So could a client go somewhere else and get help with a business plan? Frankly, they could. Would they get it for free? Maybe they could go to like SCORE, SOCRE. SCORE is a nonprofit that'll do a free business plan. So yeah, I would say that there are some good substitutes for this. Can they get seed capital through other models? Yes, I'm with you there. But we still need it. So even though it's not a unique proposition, it's needed to create the basis. Can they get an address somewhere else for free? Probably not in general. And are there other resources that will file, in other words, pay for the cost of the Secretary of State filing so it's free to the participant? I don't think so. So now we're starting to have some unique strategic differentiation. This one is certainly a continuance of that. We literally transfer assets to the client's balance sheet. Now, worse yet, most clients don't even know what a balance sheet is. So we have to educate them what a balance sheet is, help them create one, and then we transfer legally and ethically assets to put on their balance sheet. Why would we do that? Because collateral. Lenders typically want collateral, something that's pledged that protects them, that mitigates the risk in case the borrower doesn't repay. Your experience maybe is different than mine, but what I find is most small businesses do not have collateral, so we transfer that, and that is included in the program. It's free. Then also we have the opportunity fund. So this shouldn't be confused. There's an and sign here. So two different things. So collateral it's included, and this is a unique differentiation. I don't think anyone else does this. This is legally and ethically transferring real assets in the form of accounts receivables, which is considered a current asset on the balance sheet. We transfer that for free. It's included. Separately, don't combine the two, we have the opportunity fund. Well, earlier in our conversation, we were talking about the 3 C's, right? We said credit, meaning business credit, collateral, which of course we just covered, and then capacity, which means cash flow. A lot of times, regardless if the client is having us form a new business or if they already have a business, in many cases, clients don't have good cash flow. And often entrepreneurs will seek to explain away things. Oh, that doesn't apply to me. I've got a new business. The balance sheet doesn't matter because I've got a new business. That's flat out wrong. Or cash flow doesn't matter because I'm a brand new business. Well, can we get funding for a business with no cash flow yet? Yes, we absolutely can. And that's where the business plan and the financial projections come in. We can show the lender we've not made any money yet, but with the influx of the loan, we'll be able to, and we'll show them what that looks like. So there is a workaround, but it is not correct to think that a business that has daily deposits is not more fundable. So let me word it differently. Businesses that already have some cash flow are more fundable for a larger amount than businesses that don't yet have cash flow. So since we recognize that, I don't think you'd argue that, typically we need at least 5 to 7 deposits per month for the business to look as credible as possible with the lender. So we provide that if the client needs, called the opportunity fund. So that gets us to week 4, the final week. Now we're putting everything together and getting ready for funding. At that point, we've completed the project. If the client wants to go on their own, fine, but most, then ask us to go ahead and execute the plan, get them funding, because this is really the funding prep, these 4 weeks. Not because we just want to do it, not because it's nice to have, not because we make money off of it, but it's the basis of having a fundable business is captured in those 4 weeks. But what clients really want is this. They want to go apply for funding. They want to get approved for funding. They want funding. So our approach to this is also innovative, that we have a proprietary lender match technology, we'll call it AI technology, that allows us to match the right lender and funding program based upon the mitigating circumstances of the borrower. So there's not just one source of capital. There's not just one lender. There's lots of different lenders, lots of different loan programs. And based upon these variables, we'll determine where we go. So for instance, does the business plan say that they need 100,000 or does it say they need 10 million? Is it for working capital or is it for real estate? Where the business is located affects lenders. We have some lenders that we have access to when we provide an address that's not available on a national basis. And of course, we need to make sure that the entity is in good standing with the Secretary of State and the IRS. We know that most lenders will look for collateral, but we provide that. We know most lenders will like businesses that have a proof of life, not a zombie business in terms of deposits. So we can take them to funding if they want. Those of you that are affiliates, you're paid off that. You're paid 5%. We charge clients 10% performance fee after the capital is raised. And we pay 5% to the affiliate that brought us a client. And then we pay a 2% override to the master affiliate that brought the affiliate. So this is just a summary of what we've talked about. So let me pull up the agenda. We'll make sure we hit everything. And then any questions, comments, concerns you have, go ahead and type it into the Q&A. So our learning objectives were to know what it takes to be fundable. And we've covered that. We need to have a business plan. We need to have a unique address. We need to show that the business is solvent. We need to be in good standing with the government. We need to have collateral. It's best to have deposits coming in, and we need to have everything packaged properly. So that's kind of a Cliff Notes version of what's needed. That's what's built in as well, because we developed the proposition to apply for the grant based upon what's needed. So there's essentially a perfect match between what's needed to be fundable and what we do purposefully. So if there's any questions, just go ahead and type it into the Q&A. We'll be happy to address it. The 5,000 grant, just to make that clear. So the 4-week funding program ends up being, notice my words, ends up being at no cost to the participant. It is 5,000. The grant covers 4,000 up front, and then the remaining 1,000 is paid by the participant at the time of enrollment, and then it's refunded back to them once they've completed, like a refundable deposit. Like if you ever rented an apartment or leased a house, you know that some things have deposits, and if you do what you say, then you get it back. So in the end, everyone is getting a $5,000 grant allocation. In the end, we're literally doing all this work for them for free. What's not free is the funding, that if they want us to do the funding for them, which is optional, there's a 10% performance fee, which is split with you. All right, so let's go back to our list. Oh, clicked wrong. Let's go back to our list. We did describe how it's a 28-day process. I think we're good there. How we become fundable. We've talked, I think, in a fair amount of detail what we do and how we do it, why we do it. And if you need to revisit it more, you can go to 4weekfunding.com. And again, I didn't mention the green button here is the access point. So if you click this, we'll click it. It'll slowly pop up. And then this is where someone would enroll if they wanted to participate. Let's go back. So we did attempt to separate personal finance from business finance. We did talk about the 3 C's of business lending: credit, but business credit. And so in most cases, we're adding primary trade lines to help strengthen the business's credit profile. And those primary trade lines could be business real estate, business automobiles, or business credit cards typically. So that's not the end goal. We're not saying that substitutes for the funding, the cash funding at the end. But as we're building the business credit profile, typically we'll add trade lines that will report on the business credit. Okay, so that was this one here. We talked about the opportunity fund and the relevance of it, whereby if we can demonstrate 5 to 7 deposits per month, that gives us a stronger app for funding. We don't have to have that, but it certainly makes it stronger, and we facilitate that through the opportunity fund. So that's there. We did, I think, cover pretty well the scope of free services that are included. So that was that. As far as the lending amount, I hope this makes sense. There's no cap. There's no maximum. And I know it says 5 million because that's typically the largest threshold. But technically, there is no maximum. But it's not too good to be true. It's not like play Monopoly money. I'll just take it all out of the bank and I can spend it however I want. We have to qualify. We have to be fundable enough. And the bigger amount that we're chasing, the more fundable we have to have. So we did collaborate on a $50 million capital raise, which is frankly the largest that our team's ever been involved with, but that's an outlier. But certainly, well, we guarantee at least 100,000 if they're going to have us help them with funding. So the minimum is 100,000. We promised that in writing. There's really no maximum, but we do have a lender that we started working with. We talked about last week that will do $1 million+ on startups, which is awesome. to get funding offers today. You can cut through all the red tape. Just go to 4weekfunding.com, scroll down to the bottom, and go right here, and you can get a funding app. And I showed you what that looks like. It's going to ask for business information on the top. If you don't have any or all, you can leave it blank. It's going to ask for business owner information on the bottom. And typically within 24 hours, it will get you funding offers. But don't be surprised that if you don't have a fundable business, you're not going to qualify for as much as if you did have a fundable business. And that's why we do these 4 weeks. Scams. We hear a lot about scams. Everyone's worried about scams. So what's our advice on that? Number one, work with resources that have written agreements, because a written agreement's crucial, right? It describes what both parties promises to do. And so I certainly would not recommend engaging in a program that's based upon a verbal or a handshake deal. It just leaves too much unresolved. So everything that we do is in writing. We have written agreements. Everything that we do, we have written agreements. So it describes who we are, what we're doing, how it works. So that would be, I think, the most important strategy to avoid scams is make sure that you're working with a resource that will provide you a written agreement. And we make ours painfully transparent, right? There's no password. You don't have to give us information. Just go to 4weekfunding.com and you can click on the green button and see what it takes to participate in the 4-week funding program, which will match what I just discussed, of course. And if you want to go straight to funding, you can come down here, and those are those 2 tabs that I've opened. So we not only put it in writing, we put it out for the world to see. Resources, 4weekfunding.com. If you're looking to get involved as a participant to raise capital, again, we'd recommend going through the 4-week curriculum with the green button. If you don't want that, scroll down and we can go right to funding with number 8. But understand that it's going to be rare that you're going to come to the table with everything in place. But regardless, we can go straight to funding if that's what you want. And then we're real people with the real phone number that will, the phone's answered live Mondays through Fridays during office hours. Otherwise, it goes into voicemail. We do the best we can to get back with you in short order. 903-200-8781 if you can't see that. Any questions, comments, concerns on who we are, what we do, why we do it, how a participant would benefit, what a participant would expect, what an affiliate does? Because from an affiliate perspective, if you want to become an affiliate, just give us a call. We'll send you the app. You get a landing page, and then you just refer people to the landing page, and we take care of everything else. So we don't want to burden affiliates with being sales oriented. So our affiliates are not salespeople. They just simply refer people, prospective participants, to their landing page. We take care of everything else and they get paid. They get paid 5% of the capital raise. Each client's guaranteed a minimum of 100,000. So obviously the affiliate's going to get at least 5,000. And then we have master affiliates that are the managing a team of affiliates, and they get paid a 2-point override. So it's fine for everyone to understand the financial model. We're getting a small fraction, right? We're doing all the work and we're getting 3 points out of the deal. So it's certainly not that we're taking advantage of anyone. We're literally getting 3 points out of the 10. The rest is being paid out to the market. All right, Celino's got a good question. Could he come in and be an affiliate first and then refer himself in? Yeah, Celino, that is perfectly fine. So you can give us a call. We can get you set up as an affiliate. You'll get a landing page, and then you can refer yourself in, and then that would reduce your cost of capital in half, wouldn't it? So then instead of paying a 10% performance fee, you'd be paying a 5% performance fee, because 5% of that is a commission that would have been paid to you anyway. So great point, Celino. Anyone else have questions, comments, concerns on what we've discussed today? I think it really comes down to the very first question that we had here. Do you know anyone that's looking for funding to start or grow a business? So Bernard, Dorothea, Eric, Jeanette, we have 318 of you on. Jeff, Michael, Pauline, Pearlie, Celino, Sanya. Stephen, Toby, Todd, and others, do you know anyone that's looking for funding to start or grow a business? If so, become an affiliate, refer them in, make 5 points of their capital raise. Let's say that you don't know, you've been living under a rock. I don't know anyone that wants funding. Well, then become an affiliate. We can get you leads. We can show you how to generate leads very effectively off of Facebook or off of Google Ads. We can get you 10 to 20 leads a day flowing through, so much that you say, stop sending me leads. So if you're looking to get paid to help people, being an affiliate is a great opportunity. Again, you would just call us and we can get you set up. But is there anything that we didn't cover today that we need to before we end our call today? All right, well, I think we got it covered. We'll see you back tomorrow morning. Have a great day and let us know if we can help you with anything. Bye-bye.